All right, welcome. I see people are starting to join. Awesome, guys. Gonna give us a few minutes here. We're a little bit early before the 2 p.m. All right, Matt Curry, thank you for the welcome here. Okay, give us a little time. Gonna make sure I have my chat screen open so I can see all of you when you're commenting and talking and telling us how things are. Ooh, you got somebody from Kentucky. All right, pressure's on because we're here in Colorado. Hi, Tina. Happy Derby Day to you as well. I hope you're all wearing your big hats at home and are getting festively dressed up to enjoy our mint julep class. Hi, Diana. In Colorado, sweet. So you're enjoying this beautiful summer day early as well with us. I don't know how the weather is in Kentucky, but it's perfect derby weather here right now. Iowa City. Hey, Carl, what's up? Happy Derby Day. I love this. We've got some people from all over. Tina says it was freezing last night. Well, Tina, you know, I'm glad today is turning out to be beautiful, and this derby class is going to make it even a more beautiful day for you. Hey, Kristen, I think I might know you from way back in, from Massachusetts. All right, so we got some people tuned in from the East Coast now. I'm an East Coast baby before my my move to the West, to the wild West of Colorado. So I love it when people tune in from back east as well. Cheers, everyone. All right, so it is noon, and it looks like we are getting there with some participants. We are up to 30 right now. Give us another moment or two. You know, I would love it if anybody's wearing their derby hats today or their derby suits. Give us a little post later. Shout out with your mint julep. We're going to be running a couple different competitions today, and I'll tell you about those in a second. But if you are wearing some Kentucky attire, we would love to see it because that just adds to the funness of this, right? All right, so we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you, New York Cocktail Expo, for having us. Thank you, Old Elk Bourbon, for making delicious whiskey to enjoy today on our Kentucky Derby Day. It's also May Day, so a couple things to celebrate. I love it when there's just so much happening on the 1st of May, and it's summer outside. There's a beautiful race happening later, and we get to enjoy cocktails together. So my name is Melinda Maddox. I work for Old Elk Distillery. I'm here in Fort Collins, Colorado. I moved here 2 years ago to work for this amazing bourbon company, and I am excited to share with you guys how to make one of my favorite cocktails, the mint julep. It's a very classic recipe, very simple, but we're gonna turn into a trifecta of winners with 3 recipes today. So we're gonna do the classic mint julep. We are going to do a mint julep cobbler, which is going to be adding fresh fruit and some sherry, and then we're also going to be doing a mint julep jubilee. And that is inspired by our new whiskey line of flavored whiskeys. Hey, Lily, welcome. Happy Derby Day. So a few things to go over. I hope you have your tools. We'll go over a little list in a second here. We also have a couple competitions going on. So New York Cocktail Expo and Matt Curry have kindly put forward the idea of doing a post-story competition. So as you're making drinks today, or even later on, if you're not making them right now, but you're getting ready to do it later when you're enjoying and watching the Derby, if you have a cocktail photo to share with us, you can tag at New York Cocktail Expo and at Old Elk Bourbon. And even better, if you have Old Elk Bourbon to post in your picture, as well as, like I said, your hat and your attire. And we will have an awesome Old Elk Bourbon prize for you for the winner. We're also going to up the ante a little bit, and with each cocktail, once we make it, we're going to have a little 2 truths and a lie competition. So there'll be some mini prizes that we'll send out to the first person who can comment over in the chat section here with a correct answer for what is a lie. So we'll just need to make sure that we get your emails from you later. You can either email New York Cocktail Expo or myself. On those emails, you've been receiving as the updates for today's webinar, and we'll send you a fun prize for participating. Also, would love to see your comments as you're tasting and enjoying, and love that we've got a little chat going on already. All right, so to get started, what makes the Derby the Derby? Well, I mean, it's old, right? 1875, Churchill Downs, big hats, roses, but most importantly, second to horses and racing is the mint julep. So we're going to start with the classic mint julep. It's a beautiful, refreshing, awesome drink. I've got my julep cup. This is made from steel, and the purpose of that is that it's going to sort of insulate the drink at the same time as it also helps the cold to really move up through it. So as I make the drink and as you're making the drink, you'll see that your glass is actually starting to get like a little sheen of ice on that. A lie is something that is not true. We're not playing yet, John. You got to wait till at least the first cocktail. All right, so we need tools. We need our bourbon. We need our mint. We need some sugar. You can have powdered, white, or both, or even brown sugar or demerara if you want something a little bit sweeter or a little more natural. That's totally fine. Artificial like sweeteners, anything really, as long as you're getting that sugar that you want. No, we're not going to be making any lye today. Just some delicious mint juleps. And you're going to want some bitters. I'm using Angostura bitters. I have sherry for my cobbler, and I chose Amontillado. Sherry is a little bit drier. It has like really nice nutty flavor to it. That's going to go well with the bourbon. And then ice. I've got a ton over here because I'm making all three. And then something to crush your ice with. You can use a blender. You can also just use the chunk ice, but I think it's kind of fun to take out a little aggression. So I've got a mallet behind me and a bag for my ice as well. We're going to crush it in. And then a spoon, a shot glass or a jigger, and then obviously your cup. So to get started, we are going to place 10 mint leaves. Am I a little excited there? And that's 10. A little trick for you guys at home with your mint sprigs. So you can actually just kind of pinch the head of the mint and then peel off these bottom 2 leaves. There's usually 2 or 3 or 4. And that's what you can use to muddle, so you don't have to sort of risk losing the heads, which are the nice big sprig part here. That's the flower of it. And it just has like a nice bouquet when we go to drink our mint julep. Okay, so I have my 10 mint leaves. I'm going to do a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going a little less because I want mine to be a little less sweet. And you know, this is sort of where you can take some creative liberty. And I put the sugar right in here directly on top of my mint. I'm going to add my water because we're making our simple syrup. If you have simple syrup already, that's great. You can just you can do a 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce, or about a 1/4 to a 1/2 of your shot glass. And now we're going to muddle this up and make like a little paste. And we're going to do this for a healthy amount of time. I'd say at least 20 seconds or so. All right, our people, I hope there are some of you out there mixing along with us and muddling. I'm using a wooden muddler. You can use a spoon. You can, again, you know, you could cheat and use something like a little bullet blender or something like that. You know, there's many ways to, essentially we're dissolving the sugar with the mint and making like a mint syrup. So we're going to add our bourbon, and we are going with 2.5 ounces of our old elk bourbon, 10 fresh mint leaves, as I said, for the mixture, and then about a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. So what I'm going to do right now is actually only add half of my bourbon. And the reason for that is that the whiskey is going to help to dissolve more of the sugar, and it's going to start to pull out the mint flavor. Starting to smell very, very tasty in here. All right, so I just did that, and now I'm going to add the other half. That's 1 more ounce, and then another 1/2 ounce. If you're an old-fashioned fan, really, you know, the mint julep is just kind of an old-fashioned variation of the cocktail, but adding mint to it. Okay, the fun part, guys, we're going to crush some ice. So I've got this is called a Lewis bag, basically. It's a plastic bag. I'm going to add my ice to. You could use a Ziploc bag. I'd probably double them up, or even, you know, bags that you get from the grocery store. Just double them up and put your ice in there. I've worked events in the past where there's no surface to really crush up your ice, and so you might have seen me at some point crushing ice on the ground. You know, anything goes when it comes to mint julep. So we've got our mallet here. These are made by one of our local carpenters here in town. And I'm gonna just kind of head over here a little bit away from my bottle because I don't want to make all this stuff bounce. So I'm gonna get my knife. Show you guys right here, actually. Hopefully that's not too loud for you. Is anybody else working with crushed ice today? Good thing I'm in a good mood. Otherwise, I'd have to hit it harder, right? Okay. So we're gonna add our ice. We're gonna add our ice about halfway. There you go. I like it, Carrie. That's perfect. I don't have a my ice dispenser doesn't do that, so I have to do it the old-fashioned way. So I'm just mixing this up a little bit because I want to make sure that the bourbon and the mint and the sugar are all mixed in well. And as you can see already, it's starting to get a little frosty on the outside here. Okay. And then I left my spoon in here because I wanted to do exactly what I'm doing right now, just a short little muddling mixing action to pull that bourbon up through the ice. All right. And then I'm gonna make a nice little dome with mine, kind of like a snow cone. I love this. It's like an adult snow cone. And then I'm taking 2 of my mint sprigs. I want a lot, so I'm gonna take both of these and I'm just pinching them right off at the head here. And then you take it almost kind of like, some people like to smack their mint. Some people like to really put it between their hands and give it a big smack. The reason for that is you're releasing the oils and the mint, and that's what's going to make it so minty fresh. I honestly think just a gentle little brush of the mint will make it all nice. And then because I had it like tucked together, sort of pinched together, I can just stuff it right into the side of my glass here. We're going to add a straw. We're going to go with gold for winning. And then our Angostura bitters. And I'm putting those right over the top. So now I've got a delicious mint julep. And if you can see, it's starting to frost up here. So this is what you want to go for. And it is going to start to dilute a little bit with the water, but this metal is going to insulate it so it doesn't melt down too far. And this is an amazingly refreshing, delicious cocktail on a hot derby day. Deanna, yes, we're using Old Elk bourbon today. So we're here in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, and our Old Elk bourbon has a delicious amount of barley in it, so it's really smooth. Makes it really kind of malty flavor, similar to a Scotch without having the smoke. And then it has 15% rye, so you get a nice little spice there, as well as 51% corn. Absolutely, yeah. Yep, we can definitely do that, Lily. Also, if you did not receive this, you can send this to you in your email, just a little step-by-step of what you need. But we can definitely put those in at the end there for you guys, for sure. All right, so I'm gonna give this a little sip. And while I'm enjoying my mint julep, I got some questions for you guys. So 2 truths and a lie. All right, the red rose is the official flower of the Kentucky Derby. Truth or lie? Founder of the Kentucky Derby, Colonel Meriwether Lewis Clark, committed suicide just 12 days before the 25th running of the Kentucky Derby. Truth or lie? Last but not least, bourbon, the most American spirit, must come from Kentucky. And I know there's some Kentucky people doing this with us today, so we'll see who has the truth and the lie. All right. Love it, guys. You guys are, you know your stuff. You know your bourbon. All right, I think Carl was the first to comment in the chat. So Carl is the winner of our first 2 truths and a lie. And that is absolutely true, John. Bourbon can be made anywhere in the US. Kentucky makes some delicious bourbon. But again, we are here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and we are definitely making bourbon. And a couple of things that make it bourbon is the fact that it's a 51% corn mash bill. I have a feeling that John is from Kentucky. And then it needs to be aged in new American oak, as well as needs to come from America in order to be called bourbon. Tina, I totally understand. However, Old Elk is now in Kentucky, so I'd love to hear your thoughts if you get a chance to try it. All right, guys, so that is our classic mint julep. Definitely like the mint is like the most prominent flavor with the bourbon, super refreshing. Love this cocktail. I'm probably gonna have a couple of them today. And I'm excited to move on to our cobbler julep variation. So I'm gonna keep everything except for my julep. And as you guys can see again, just love how this is like icing up over here. It's really, really cold. You do have to be careful, they get kind of slippery. Don't drop your julep. It's a sad thing when it happens. All right, and we're gonna swap this out because we are going to make the mint julep cobbler. And just a reminder, if you guys are making these at home, we'd love to see your photos. You can post them on Instagram or Facebook. You can tag at New York Cocktail Expo and Old Elk Bourbon. And we will have some fun prizes for the best winner, best photo picture. Okay, so I'm changing it up a little bit here. I've got sherry. I have my julep cup. This one's a little smaller. I've got some fresh blackberries, some strawberries. I have powdered sugar and regular sugar. We're actually going to go all powdered sugar and no bitters this time for this one. Okay. So same thing. We're going to repeat the steps here. We're going to add our 10 mint leaves. So 2, 4, only whole numbers, 6, 8, and 10. And then I'm going to add a nice heaping spoonful of powdered sugar. About the same of my water. And then we are going with an ounce of sherry. So I'm going to add that right now. And I love this drink because it takes a low proof spirit. So sherry is typically much, much lower in proof. You can kind of sip on it. It's meant to be the same, similar to a wine, but it's fortified. So it lasts longer. And mix it with the high proof bourbon. And this way, if I'm planning on having a couple of these today, I'm not going to be losing my hat quite yet. All right, so I'm giving this a nice muddle here. And this one, I don't have to muddle as long because I use the powdered sugar, so it's a lot finer consistency. So really, I'm just kind of mixing and then listening to make sure there's no crunch noise or anything like that. I can also feel it. Absolutely, you can totally, so Deb asked, will any sherry work? Yes, I mean, you can do port sherry, you could do Fino sherry, which is really, really dry. I'm using Amontillado. It's just going to change the flavor dynamics. So like a port sherry is gonna be more fruity, which would be great with this. I might just like dial back a little bit on the quantity. It really all depends. The great thing about cocktails is that yes, there's a formula to making it taste delicious, but at the same time, it's all about what you like to drink. So there's no need to, to stick to any one person's recipe. However, it is nice to kind of learn what other people do and then tailor it to your own. All right, so I am going to go with 2 ounces this time. And actually, I just got a little too much, but I guess that's okay. So I add my bourbon. I've got the mint in here. I have my powdered sugar. I have my sherry. So Jason's asking why powdered. Yeah, Jason, so classically, like historically, powdered sugar was used before granulated sugar. And I kind of thought it might be nice just to play around with the different ones. We're also going to use the powdered sugar as part of the garnish after this. So there's a part of me that likes to conserve and have things be like very neat and pretty, as you can see by my setup here. So I just wanted to have the powdered sugar as the base of the syrup, and then also have it be part of the garnish. All right, and then I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to add 3 whole blackberries right into it. And then for my strawberries, I'm going to cut the top off because the green is a little bitter, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to cut the top off, and I'm going to slice it in half and quarter it as well, just to make the muddling easier. So got a good little chunk of that right there. Extra bourbon is totally always okay. It is, I agree. All right, so I did another one of those. And right now I pretty much got a nice fruit cup here. Adult version of a fruit cup. We're going to muddle this. I'm going to go real gentle because it is pretty full. And I don't want to lose any of my bourbon or sherry or deliciousness. Guys, if you're making this at home, I would love to hear how it's tasting and what berries you're using. Because you can really sub in, you know, you could have raspberries, you could have peaches, you could have mango, any kind of soft fruit, really. All right, so I'm about kind of like half of it is pretty mushed up, and then the rest is kind of chunky right now. And I'm okay with that, because what's going to happen as we add the ice and stir it up is that it's just going to mix together over time, and that fruit, we're going to get almost like a quick infusion, basically. And just like with a real infusion, the longer it sits, the more flavor it's going to pull out of the fruit. The shorter it sits, the shorter the sort of less fruit flavor you're going to get. So I'm going to hit my ice again. You've got your Frigidaire crushed ice. I say go for it right now. Get that ready to put into your glass. Okay. This is one of my favorite parts, because it's kind of fun just to get a little messy. And there's a certain satisfaction when the ice kind of melds up. All right, so I didn't leave my spoon in there, so now I have to give this a little stir. And the color on this, I'm actually going to put a little bit into a glass right here. I just want to show you, you know, it's got this nice pink hint to it, and that's really coming from the berries. So I'm excited. This is going to be so good. And this glass is a little shorter than the other ones. I can't get as crazy with the ice mound. So I'm gonna go not that high. And get my mint. Again, we're pinching the mint at the sort of where the bouquet starts at the head of it, and then you can pull it together. And when I'm doing this, I'm releasing those oils, so I don't have to do the smacking part. However, this is kind of fun. At the bar, people always kind of look up when you smack the mint. Okay, and then I have my powdered sugar. So I'm going to add a little powdered sugar, another blackberry, and this is for fanfare, you know, because I can always eat these at the end too after they've sort of mixed with the bourbon. I'm going to cut one of these up just so I can have a nice little slice of strawberry on there. And the whole idea of the cobbler is that it's a refreshing, lighter cocktail. Typically was enjoyed in the Victorian eras at breakfast, which is fun to me. And then we're going to sprinkle our powdered sugar. All right. So it looks a little bit like a fruit salad, but I guarantee you it's going to taste so amazing. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so while I'm enjoying my mint julep cobbler, we've got another game of two truths and a lie for you guys. So classic cobblers didn't include muddled fruits, but the popularity of the sherry cobbler inspired the creation of more elaborate cobblers. Truth or lie? Again, I'm going to repeat that one. This is kind of long. So classic cobblers, breakfast bourbon, coffee bean infused. Yes, Matthew, who are you? You're having a great breakfast. So classic cobblers did not typically include muddled fruit, but the popularity of the sherry cobbler inspired the creation of more elaborate cobblers. Another truth or lie for you. Bourbon has to be aged at least 2 years to be called bourbon. Bourbon has to be aged at least 2 years to be called bourbon. And then the last one is the mint julep predates the cobbler. I kind of already gave this one away. Victorian era, they did enjoy these and were very popular at breakfast time, which almost makes me want to go back to that era. All right, so what is the lie out of those three? I'm seeing lots of answers. I think Donna might be the first one to answer on this one. We're gonna have a New York Cocktail Expo weigh in on this too and make sure that I'm not being biased for any of our panelists watching. All right. So, truth, but false. Bourbon has to be aged at least 2 years to be called bourbon. That is not true. As soon as it even touches the wood, it becomes considered a bourbon. You know, some people might say, does it have to be 2 years old? Does it have to be 4 years old? Why is there an age statement? 2 years refers to whether or not you can call it straight bourbon. And that's letting people know that, yes, it's been in the barrel for 2 years. There's bourbon that's called White Dog. It's unaged. So that would be literally if it had not gone into the barrel yet. So that's just White Dog whiskey. Sorry, I said it was bourbon. It's not bourbon. It's White Dog whiskey. Anything that's over 2 years is delicious. However, I also feel like there are lots of bourbons and lots of whiskeys out there in between that like 3 to 6 year mark that are delicious. If you've been able to enjoy a 20-year or 15-year or even like a 10-year whiskey compared to like a young baby one, there is a difference. The wood adds a lot of flavor. It also does something to the maturation where it just basically really mellows out the whiskey flavors. So when you have a fresh whiskey, it's gonna have like a lot of raw edges to it. And that's why when you taste some whiskeys and they have that sort of like little bite to them, that's just that they haven't had a whole lot of time in the wood, probably. All right, so what did you guys think of for the mint julep cobbler? John's into his 3rd and 4th julep. Hey, John has great advice for all of you. So he says that he uses a mule mug. That is awesome. So a mule mug is, let's see, I think I have one right here. Might have seen better days, but basically a mule mug is one of those copper mugs with a handle. Pro tip from John, absolutely. As you've had a few of them, because they are getting this beautiful icy, but also wet because it's hot out, and it's, if you're at the actual Derby, right, you're nervous because you're like watching the race. Your hands are gonna get slippery, right? And you don't want to lose your delicious mint julep. So yeah, definitely recommend. These are great too, and they're a little bigger. So hey, you can put more bourbon in there. Okay, we are going to make the mint julep jubilee. All right, so this one's going a little bit, a little more innovative, a little more new style, less classic. Both the cobbler and the mint julep, you know, those are pre-prohibition era cocktails. Been around since people basically figured out that they wanted to add things to their whiskey to make it taste better. And we're just in sort of a new era of whiskey with our flavored stuff. So I'm going to swap this out, and we wanted to have fun with you guys and give you the option of choosing your flavor choice. So I have pineapple whiskey. This one's my personal favorite. I like pineapple. We have banana. Banana is, believe it or not, one of the most popular flavors in the US. We have salted caramel. This is kind of a decadent treat. And then we have chocolate. So we can mix with any one of these. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you guys would like to see made. So chocolate, banana, salted caramel, pineapple. You guys have any votes or desire? The cool thing about the Whiskey Smith, all right, chocolate, pineapple. What about chocolate and pineapple? That could be good. Chocolate and salted caramel. Oof. All right. New York Cocktail Expo, help me out here. How many pineapple votes? I'm seeing a lot of pineapple and I'm seeing a lot of chocolate. Like a mad scientist, absolutely. What do we, what's the winner here? I feel like it's a close tie. Pineapple or chocolate? Banana. You're the only one who wants banana, Matt. I'm sorry. All right, pineapple it is. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you guys the Whiskey Smith line. This was I helped develop it, and I'm super excited about it because I typically really like to drink my whiskey straight. But as a bartender, I also like to do infusions. And one of the things that's really hard behind the bar and just at home even is to make infusions that aren't like super messy, right? Like if you think about adding like chocolate to your whiskey, how do you get that flavor in there other than like a chocolate syrup, right? But Hershey's chocolate syrup, yes, it has its place in a chocolate milk. All right, John, we're gonna have to work on that because we want to make sure that it is close to you. John's saying he's having a hard time finding the Whiskey Smith. We do have a store locator. However, if you're having a hard time finding it, please let me know where you're at, and we'll work on that because we are, we're new to the market, but it's also helpful to know when people are looking for it, and we can make sure it gets out there. So as I was saying, it's it's hard to like do these infusions, right? Like how do you get banana into whiskey? Mixing up a banana smoothie with whiskey, not really like exactly cocktail drinking. And so what we did was we sort of like reverse engineered, like a mad scientist, flavors, and we used a lot of natural flavors, and then we also used the science lab to figure out what banana flavors we wanted, what pineapple flavors we wanted, what chocolate flavors we wanted. We've also got some fun new Blood Orange. New York Cocktail Expo just posted the store locator there for you guys. We've also got it available on online on whiskysmithco.com, and there is a free shipping code for you guys, and that is Whiskey Smith, Friends of Whiskey Smith Co. We can also put that into your little chat there for you. And we're going to follow the standard recipe that we've already followed, right? So we've got our mint. I'm actually going to, I think I want to back down on the mint on this one a little bit. Actually, no, that's a lie. We're gonna keep it at 10. All right, so I'm adding 10 mint leaves. I am going to go back to my granulated sugar because I want to control the sweetness a little more. And with the powdered sugar, I feel like you just get more powder volume in there. So the Whiskey Smith products, they already have a little bit of sugar sweetness to them naturally just from the flavors. And with the pineapple, the fruit flavor is super kind of like exotic and pina colada-ish, and it's great, but I don't want it to be too sweet. So I added my water, I added my mint, I added my sugar, muddling that up again. And I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but there's definitely a difference when you are muddling with the granulated. It has like a grainy texture and sound. And then when you're doing it with the powdered sugar. Okay, and then we are going to use, I think in our instructions we said remaining berries, but I have a lot of berries. So we are not going to add all of our berries because they won't fit in here. But we are going to do, I think, I'm going to do just strawberry if we're going with the pineapple. So I'm going to take 3 strawberries, cut those tops off again because we don't want the bitterness from the greens. Slice those into quarters. Add them to my cup. That's a lot of berries. And then have a little jubilee of a mixing time. Karen, we will get that free ship code posted for you and get some Whiskey Smith in you guys' hands. Okay. Ooh. Got a little splash there. Got some fun cleaning up later. All right, so I have these adorable little mint julep cups. I'm going to use it. It's a shot glass, actually. That's my jigger. And we are going with 3 ounces of the pineapple whiskey. And the reason for that is because it is a little bit lower in alcohol, 60 proof, versus the 88 proof of the bourbon. So I'm going to do 2 of these. And we're going to give this a little stir. And we're going to crush some ice again. Good times over here at the ice machine. It's a workout. I need to work out now for the rest of the day. Just get my arm workout. Okay. We are going to give us a little mashing. It's going to be just in time to start tuning into the derby. All right, my crushed ice. Looking beautifulness. And this is really nice and crushed. Loving it. Okay. Stir there. We're gonna go with a white and blue straw this time. And then a couple sprigs of mint again. Big bouquet. And some strawberry to finish. All right, so I'm sure a lot of you, definitely the people in Kentucky, have already admitted to being bourbon snobs, whiskey snobs. However, there's people in your life who probably don't like whiskey, right? They say, I don't like whiskey. I think the Whiskey Smith line really is kind of like a fun little gateway for those people who are like, nah, I don't like whiskey, it's too strong, or I just don't like the flavor of it. The flavors that we have here are just super approachable. They're fun. They're meant to be fun. They're meant to be a cocktail already in the bottle. So all the flavors there. All you need to do is add ice and drink, or a little bit of sugar, a little bit of fruit. Sometimes I like to add a little Prosecco and champagne. And we are ready to play our last two truths and a lie. All right, I need to sip first. Wow, that is super good. Yum. So happy about that. All right, so two truths and a lie. Ray Charles covered a song called One Mint Julep, and it hit the top 10. Truth or lie? The mint julep is the official drink of the Kentucky Derby. Truth or lie? And whiskey is not gluten-free. Truth or lie? What do you guys think? Jason, you're fast. Lynn, I'm sorry. No, Ray Charles did do a cover of One Mint Julep and made it popular. Yeah, it was all about having one mint julep in the night that followed after that. So hopefully that song doesn't become about any of us today. Yeah, so whiskey is not gluten-free is false. Whiskey is gluten-free. The distillation process removes all the gluten, removes basically everything that is in there that comes from the starches and everything else. So what you're left with is a gluten-free product. That's also, you know, well, personally, I think good for you. But I'm super psyched about this because the federal government just, I think it was like 6 months ago, finally took an official stance on this where they said, nope, all distilled spirits, unless there's something added to them, are gluten-free. So if something's added to them after the distillation process, which does happen with some spirits, then yes, they might not be gluten-free. However, if it's a straight whiskey coming off the still, if it's a vodka, if it's a gin, if it's a scotch, those are all going to be gluten-free. So you can now have your, thank you, we're using some big science words there, Carl. Denatured, yes. So it's basically the just breaking it down and removing it and stripping it from what comes off the still. You can have your friends join in now with confidence that they're not going to get sick, which is great because everybody should enjoy whiskey. I also saw we had some comments there above. So guys, I'd love to just remind you, if you're making cocktails with us, go ahead and take a picture. Feel free to post it with your Derby attire. If you've got our Old Elk product or the Whiskey Smith product, feel free to put that in the picture too. We'll be running a social media, Instagram, I think we'll keep it to Instagram competition. And New York Cocktail Expo and Old Elk Bourbon will be voting on the best photo and best recipe based off of what we've given you today. And then, of course, for those of you who've been playing along with the two truths and a lie, we're going to keep track of that, and we'll make sure that we find out how to get a hold of you after this so that we can send you a fun Old Elk Bourbon prize. I did see a comment earlier, I think it was from John. Just going to scroll up here. All right, so it looks like we have some trouble with the store locator. So let's make sure. Yeah, that's John. John, we're going to follow up on that. We want to make sure that they're all things are taken care of because we want you guys to get these recipes. Joanne, we emailed the recipes, but we can also we can post them. Ooh, and Joe is asking for a free shipping code. It's Whiskey Smith, Friends of Whiskey Smith, I believe is the shipping code. I need to take a moment. Maybe Matt can help me with that, so I'm not remembering exactly, and I don't want to give you the wrong thing. So Matt, if you have that right now, that'd be awesome. If not, yes, Friends of Whiskey Smith, no co at the end. Perfect. That's the code, guys, right there. Friends of Whiskey Smith. No co, just friends of us. So let's take a little time. You guys want to hang out with me and enjoy your juleps? I need to drink some of this one because it's overflowing. And again, I'm in Colorado, so I'm 2 hours behind you. So this is hitting right at the brunch hour for me. Any questions from the audience about juleps, weird trivia, bourbon? Vinny's has been good to us. Yep, in Illinois. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Absolutely. They usually have almost everything that we hear Ian make. Man, that is good. So I got a little pineapple, strawberry julep fun this year. Carl, what's my favorite house-made infusion? I would say, give me a second to think about that. I've made a lot of infusions. I mean, pineapple is fun, but it takes a long time. Fresh fruit in general, I like strawberry. If I'm doing vodka, I like strawberry because I like how it gives the color of it. I like that there's like a nice little sweetness to it, but it's not too sweet. I like to do some weird things. I've done infusions with milk. I've done infusions with nuts. I kind of like doing strange experimental stuff like that. We've also got a thing called the milk punch that is milk added to an infusion and then you remove it. I don't personally, Carl. So Carl's asking if I have sous vide infusions. I don't have a sous vide machine. I typically will add them. So I'll put them in like a big, like sort of Tupperware container, almost like this, or a jar. Mason jars are great. And then I'll add them to that and I'll just let them sit. If I'm doing like doing more like a cordial, so where I'm adding like some sugar and a little bit of booze back into the infusion, as well as the fresh fruit, then I will do that in a bag. That way I can kind of like take and almost roll it with like a pen or something and just mix everything up. Lily, I spell it with an E because I am from America. However, some people do spell it with a Y if you're not from here. Carl just, ooh, you got a sous vide machine for the infusions. All right. Love it. Joe, love to hear that you did the strawberry and banana. Take it tropical. Super pumped about that. I saw a question up there about the bitters. Let's see. Never used bitters in my juleps. So it enhances the nose. And also, I think of Angostura bitters and bitters in general as like a ketchup. So when you add it to a cocktail, it typically, if it's the right bitter for the cocktail, then it almost like brings the flavors together and enhances them. So it just adds a little like oomph. Sometimes too, I mean, bitters are meant to be just used in a little amount. I went a little heavy on mine because I like how it makes that nice little like sort of amber dome on top. You know, if you just add like a drop or two to a cocktail, it's going to add like a complexity to your drink that you might not even have realized you wanted. And it's going to be almost indescribable sometimes. So, you know, if I'm making a cocktail for somebody, we're trying to come up with a recipe and I think it lacks something and it needs something else, then I'll add a dash of bitters to it and see if that pulls it together. Hopefully that answers your question. We've got a question about where can we get the Old Elk pour? So Brian, where are you? If you're here in Colorado, you can come to our tasting room and you can purchase one there. We also do flash sales on Old Elk's website. We do them on our Shopify account. I'd say we do those like 2 times a year. We just had one, so I'm sorry if you missed out, but we'll probably have one again in the late summer. We also do something called some holiday VAP packaging. So during the holidays, we'll have the Old Elk bourbon and we'll have these Old Elk pours in the box with it for the same price. So it's a really great deal. And I would definitely look out for those. They usually are hitting markets or in your store probably around like October, November, and December. You might find one in January. At this point, there's going to be probably none out there, but if you find one, you should grab it. And strangely enough, we've had Costco actually do a lot of those. So if you have a Costco near you during that time of year, during the fall, I would check it out. And again, you can come to the tasting room here in Colorado and we have the pours there. This one's actually gold, and this is going to be a new one that's coming out this year. So typically they're silver. But I wanted to show off this one because it's the Derby Day, and we should have fun with it. So bourbon and whiskey, absolutely. What's the difference between the two? Whiskey is kind of like an umbrella term. So if you think about an overall general category, whiskey refers to bourbon, Scotch, rye whiskey, malted whiskey, flavored whiskey. It's kind of like the general term used for a spirit that's made from grains. Bourbon has to be made with a very specific kind of grain or cereal mash. So corn has to be in there at 51% minimum. So if you think about having 100 parts, there has to be 51% of it that's corn. And then the rest you can have barley, you can have corn. You can kind of throw whatever you want in there as long as it has that minimum of the 51% corn in order to make it bourbon. And then when it comes to rye whiskeys, same thing. It has to have at least 51% rye. And then you could have corn in there. You could have malted barley. You could have spelt. There's some really interesting whiskeys coming out of Chicago that are made with some organic and just like different kind of creative grains, like old heirloom grains. And those are really flavorful and tasty. But unless they have that 51% corn in there, they're not going to be a bourbon. That was a great question. The duality of the Whiskey Smith logo. I love it. Okay, Brian, that's a great question. Honestly, no, the duality, I think that's pretty cool, the brotherhood with Old Elk. It's actually more about the brotherhood of the two brothers here and what they do to create Whiskey Smith. So Whiskey Smith is obviously a new product. It doesn't have a history that goes back, 100 years or 200 years. This is, brand new. We created this. It's innovative. One of the things that Old Elk is really proud of is that we are steeped in tradition. We have a master distiller who's been distilling for 40 plus years with a long, long history of making some of the best whiskeys in the world. And he has brought that tradition to Old Elk. We're also a very innovative company. So we've got a lot of young people who are, we're basically like a startup, and we're a craft distillery, but we also have the ability to, because of Greg Metz, basically our master distiller, we have the ability to have these amazing whiskeys that are, just better than a lot, better than anything, that I've had in the last 5 years. And that's why I'm here. The duality of these guys. So, they're a fictional brotherhood. Yes. One guy is the distiller. He represents, let's turn right. One represents the distiller, and then one represents the mad scientist. So the flavorist, because we really did have to take an innovative scientific approach to Whiskey Smith. We wanted to figure out how to get natural flavors in there. We wanted to make sure it tasted that still is a whiskey, technically, but also, again, had those fruit flavors or chocolate flavors or the salted caramel. We wanted to make the best flavored whiskey out there, basically. And to do that, we had to basically go back to the science lab and figure out how to get those flavors in there. So these two guys, they represent that. They represent, again, the craft and tradition of whiskey, and then the science and scientific approach of getting the flavor in there. Good question. I think they're fun. They're a little old school looking. All right, we got some other good questions here. I think I'm getting behind. Sorry, guys. Bitters. You're good. Thank you, Tina. Oh, awesome, Joe. You got the Old Elk pourer. Jared, you are making homemade old-fashioned bitters? Absolutely. It's all about how do they taste with the whiskey that you're using and in the cocktail. Thanks, Lynn. Sounds like you've been to our Old Town Fort Collins tasting room. Jim says that they had the pours recently in Pennsylvania. Guys, you're on this. Thank you. Yeah, so Lynn said she's had whiskeys made with millet, oaks, triticale, is I'm saying that right? And quite a variety out there. Absolutely. There's, again, there's like some really ancient grains that make delicious and very innovative and creative and just different whiskeys. I might not necessarily drink them in a whiskey sour as a standard, but once in a while to have something different that's, delicious, I give it a try. Mojito versus mint julep, what's your take? Absolutely gonna go with the mint julep. Can't drink anything else unless I am in the islands in the Caribbean, then I will drink a mojito for sure. But you know, that's a good call out, Lily. The mojito and the mint julep have a lot of different similarities. Really, the mojito, you're subbing in rum instead of whiskey. You're adding soda water instead of water, and voila, you have a mojito. John, sounds like our store locator is not working. We're gonna have to fix that. The whiskey chart. That might have just been our homepage. Lynn's in Iowa. All right. What are my other favorite cocktails to make with old elk whiskey? Good question, Matt. Whiskey sour. We have a delicious rye, and that makes a phenomenal whiskey sour, as well as the malted, the high malted flagship, our blended that we're using today. I also like to make a flip occasionally. So I'll do a whole egg cocktail with the bourbon. I'll do some maple syrup. I'll do bitters. That's where you can have a lot of fun with bitters. So the person who was asking earlier about making homemade bitters, like, you know, put them on your hand. You know what they taste like. They smell like more smoky, then like add them to like a little bourbon mezcal mixture. I like to add a little smoke to my whiskey. I'm a Scotch fan as well. And the high barley content in our bourbon does make it very versatile when it comes to mixing with other spirits. So probably the only thing you won't ever see me do is mix bourbon and gin together. I like to keep those two separate. Favorite drinking game? Anything trivia, Lily. You know, two truths and a lie is a fun one. Of course, when we're sitting across from each other having a drink together at a table, it's a little more personal. You can get a little more crazy with things. What's your favorite drinking game, Lily? Carl says that there's 2 books he's found for homemade bitters, huge pushers, 14 batches. Whoa. Okay. That's commendable. Bitters take a lot of time, as you said. If you're ever in the area, I'd love to try your bitters. I don't know where you're coming from again, Carl, but you can bring us a bottle. I'll make you a cocktail at the tasting room. All right, and Matt's got the correct store locator for Whiskey Smith up there. Thank you, Matt. Okay, Joe, we're gonna fix that. I'm sorry, guys, you're having trouble with the Whiskey Smith stuff. Carl says good orders dandelion bitters on the West Coast, Carl? Or dandelion organics, yep. Thank you. And they ship everywhere, yeah. I think I've actually gotten some buzz buttons from them before. I don't know if you guys have ever had those before, but they're like a little flower that actually tingles and makes your taste buds like zing, like they get a little electric shock. They're kind of fun. Great chat, guys. I'm loving it. Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts on your juleps? You guys taking your photos? I think my straw has mint in it. I'm having a little trouble here. Thanks, John. It was my pleasure too. So just a reminder, we are doing the social media contest. Take a picture with your drink, take a picture with the bottle, take a picture with your hat, post it, and New York Cocktail Expo and Old Elk Bourbon will be voting on the best one. And then for all of you who played along with our trivia, 2 truths and a lie, we've got some prizes for you for the first people who commented with the correct answer. And we've got some people coming by. All right, yes, thank you. I'd love to have those bitters. I'm at the tasting room all the time. We're open 7 days a week. Please ask for me, Melinda, or Mel, is what some friends call me. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. Honestly, Derby's just getting started for me, so I'm gonna head over to the tasting room now. We're having mint juleps as a special today. And yeah, I hope you guys have been inspired. Thank you, Lynn. Honestly, you know, my goal is always to just show that you can have fun with cocktails, you can make them delicious, follow a formula, and then throw in your own interpretation, whether it be your own bitters, fresh fruit, Prosecco. Again, you know, you can turn almost any drink into a breakfast drink. So I'm all about that. Love me a brunch cocktail. And this has been a great time. Thanks for letting me get dressed up and make cocktails for you guys. We'll be doing a Manhattan, Best Manhattan in Manhattan cocktail class in the next 6 weeks. So please stay tuned for that. we'll follow up an email too, just to thank you all. Make sure you have those recipes as well. And then if you don't follow New York Cocktail Expo online or Old Elk Bourbon on our social media platforms, you should, because we post recipes all the time. We have flash sales for the elk pour. Matt at New York Cocktail Expo has a lot of interesting and fun things going on. He is busy. He's got other webinars just like this, touch on rum, gin, vodka, all the spirits. Again, we'll be back with a Manhattan class for you guys in the future. So cheers, everyone. Enjoy your Derby days. And I hope that you're all winners today, because you have already won with me. So thank you.